Chapter 28. Tara. His face changed. He looked at our hands, at me, at Ash. Ash started to pull his hand away, but I held on to it. I wasn't doing a Mel. Shit, that sounds bitchy. In front of Ryan. But he had to know. I'd understood it all suddenly. Not just that I fancied Ash, but if it had been Ryan instead, and if it had become a long-term thing, then what happened to me would always be there between us. It wouldn't be fair to Mum and Dad, to his mother and stepfather, to anybody. I don't really hold anything against him anymore. He could even be a friend sometime. But that's got to be all. Ryan. I'd had so many jolts in the last 3 months, I didn't think anything could get to me anymore. But when I saw the two of them like that, my whole body seemed to go dull and heavy. She knew. I could tell that. Ash looked shamed at first. Then he was just quiet and calm. He was Ash. But Tara talked more than she'd ever done before, like she was trying to make it a bit easier for me. Her voice goes flat sometimes. When she gets up, she still staggers. But she's a real chick. Funny I noticed it now more than ever. She asked about the holiday, told me how she's going home tomorrow afternoon for Christmas. Said Mel was wild at Vince because he'd been chatting up some girl at the party they went to. Ash spoke a couple of times. I mumbled something, I don't know what. Then Brittany arrived. I felt better that someone else was there. I saw the look she gave us and understood why she'd seemed awkward at Z Min's last night. I like your top, Tara told her, the way chicks do. Britt had a green t-shirt thing, the same colour as her eyes, I suppose. She glanced at me for some reason. The fish and chip smell gets into all my stuff, she told Tara. I keep having to change. Can't stay long, eh? I'm helping Jimmy and Dolly at lunchtime. We agreed Jimmy and Dolly were cool. I'm teaching Dolly to say, "Girls rock," Brittany said. She goes, "Girls lock." It wasn't much of a joke, but we laughed anyway. Another couple of minutes, and I'd had enough. "I'll see ya." Tara nodded, then she asked, "You going to come and help Ash with the physio after Christmas? He's a slow learner." She stopped and looked embarrassed at what she'd said. Brittany stepped in quickly, as if nobody wanted a silence. "2 guys? Geez, you're a bit greedy, Tara." I didn't even bother to laugh this time. "Merry Christmas, eh?" Tara said as I was going. I managed to say it back. Merry Christmas. I wandered down the front drive. I knew I had no right, but I felt stupid. Totally bloody stupid. Mel and Vince, Tara and Ash, me and Zilch. And I'd really thought. I stopped and did a half-hearted sidekick at a shrub, then another, and another, hard. Twigs and leaves flew in the air. "Vandal!" came a voice. Brittany. Shit, it had to be her again. How long had she been watching? "You helped Tara heaps," she said as we stood at the bus stop. I started to grunt something, but she cut me off. "No, shut up and listen. She says it's been really good. She wants to stay friends." Friends. I knew I'd hate it if a chick said. I opened my mouth to tell Brittany, then I remembered what she'd said about her and Tara. I shrugged instead. Her bus arrived to take her to Jimmy's. "See ya," she said. "Merry Christmas." I managed to say it a second time. I hung around at the stop for another couple of minutes, then I thought, screw the bus anyway, and started a long, useless walk home. Tara. Mum and Dad didn't stop grinning for the 2.5 days I was home, except for when they had a row over whether we should have dinner outside or inside. It was cool to hear them arguing. "I used to stare out of the window when you were in Ward 11, Dad said when we were in deck chairs out the back on the first afternoon. There was this house where the people used to sit on the back porch and talk. I told myself that you were going to do that by Christmas. Fathers are always right, eh?" Yeah, I thought. I stuck my tongue out at him. It was an awesome Christmas. Just me and them and Auntie Tamsin and Jacob. Of course I know his name. I felt wrecked though. I've got a long way to go before I'm properly fit again. I fell asleep after lunch both days. But I'm getting better all the time. A bit here, a bit bigger there. I'm going to set myself targets and write them in my journal. I'm definitely going to make that 100%. Ash rang on Christmas night and we talked. Mum and Dad were dying to know what's going on, but I didn't tell. A girl's got to have some secrets. Mel and Britt came round on Boxing Day morning. Vince didn't. From the way Mel talks, I mightn't ever meet Slimeball Vince. She was moaning how he's always going on about himself. Britt and I swapped secret grins. Oh, and my secret didn't stay secret for long. Ash arrived that afternoon, and the first thing he did was make me do some exercises. Mum and Dad grinned and left us to it. I felt a bit annoyed that he was here just for the physio. Then I realised that the stretching and stuff gave him the chance to hold my hands, so I stopped feeling annoyed. I got tired and he saw it. Say hi to Ryan, I told him when he was going, and he didn't seem to mind. Then I crashed for 2 hours. Oh, and there was this really gross moment when I woke up. I wandered out the back with my mouth feeling like kitty litter. Mum was in the garden, snipping tops off old roses and dropping them in a bucket. What are you doing? I asked. Yeah, real intelligent. Mum went, oh, hello, love. I'm just trimming these. It's good for most things to get deadheaded. She froze suddenly and shot me this totally horrified look. I burst out laughing and pulled a zombie face at her. Mum came over and hugged me till I thought I was going to suffocate. Then she tipped the bucket of old roses all over me. I didn't sleep that much that night. I lay in bed thinking how brilliant it was to be in my own room, hearing the trees stirring outside. The night was quiet and gentle. It felt like time was slowing down for a while. 3 and a bit months ago, I nearly died. Nobody said so, not in those words, but I know. I was on the edge of a cliff, and I could have gone either way. It's made things seem special. I look at faces and pictures and leaves. I'll look at them better when I get my contacts. And they seem so amazing. Hope it'll last. Big thoughts, eh? I'm going back to Watson House tomorrow. Probably be another couple of weeks before I'm strong enough to come home for good. Ash is coming to see me. And Britt and Mel. Cool. I yawned and turned over. My left leg and arm are much better now. I slept. Ryan. My defensive driving certificate was waiting for me when I got home, and the youth aid officer rang to say he was pleased with how things had gone. That made me feel a bit better. Still no word from the cops. If I do have to go to court, then I'll make Vince. Maybe. Christmas was good. John and Mum and I didn't give each other much. We're all a bit short after what happened in the last few months. But Mr. Non-Event sent me a few bucks, which was more than I expected. We got a card from Tara's parents too. Best wishes. Mum was pleased. Pio came round. My uncle says you left the place really tidy, he told John. What is it with you guys? Some of John's other ex-road ranger mates dropped in too. I kept wanting to grin when I heard them going please and thanks as Mum served them Christmas cake. I went for a run. I trained twice a day. I'm not going to droop. Tara fought back, and I'm going to. Shit, when you think what she's missed out on, I had nothing to feel down about. Yeah, if I told myself that often enough, I might start to believe it. Ash arrived Christmas Day afternoon. We sat around for a bit, then he went, sorry if I messed things up between you and Tara, eh? It just sort of happened. I didn't know if you fancied her or not. No worries, I told him. I might believe that too if I said it often enough. Anyway, I didn't mind acting a big hero for the sake of my mate. It made a total of one person I was hero for. Boxing Day, I went for a run past Jimmy's fish and chip place. A sign read, closing for holidaying till reopening Jan. I wondered what Brittany was doing. I was helping John adjust the points on the Subaru after lunch when Mum called, Ryan, phone! As I came inside, she said, a girl? How? I thought, Tara? No, it couldn't be. I picked up the phone and a voice went, "It's Brittany here." I blinked and went, "Hi, I was just thinking about you." Then I had to tell her about running past Jimmy's. She was silent for a half second. Then she said, "Tara's going back to Watson House tomorrow. She might be a bit down. You want to come and see her?" At first I couldn't decide. Then I knew. Yeah, sure. Okay, said the voice on the phone. About 2:00, eh? I took the Subaru next day. "If the point's cut out and it won't go, give us a ring," John told me. Thanks, John. I drove carefully, the way I always do now, thinking of that Thursday night in the rain, the way I always do too. A figure was standing by the car park entrance. It couldn't be. It was. "Hi," said Brittany. "Thought I'd wait so I could ask you." She hesitated, then, "Any chance of my joining that taekwondo club of yours?" My first thought was, our club's going to be busy, all right. I stared at her, the fair hair, the green eyes watching me. Then, suddenly, everything seemed clear, like a computer screen when it lights up in front of you. Suddenly I felt so bloody glad nobody had managed to get her and Ash together. "Yeah, sure," I said. Inside my head, another voice was going, "Yeah, sure." We walked up the drive, not saying anything. The nurse Brooke was coming down the front hall. "Hello, you two. Tara's round the side." She smiled at us. "She's a special girl. We'll be sorry to lose her." There were noises coming from the side lawn. As Brittany and I came through the double doors, we saw Tara standing under a basketball hoop fixed to the front of a big tree. Ash was passing her the plastic physio ball. The noise was coming from Mal, clapping and laughing and putting on a big act for Vince. Yeah, Vince. He was out on the lawn too, looking as edgy as hell while nobody else took any notice of him. Tara set herself and threw. It was a good throw. My physio work had helped all right. She staggered a bit, but the plastic ball curved up, rolled on the edge of the hoop for a second, then dropped through. "Go Rockets!" called Mal. Ash grinned. Vince still looked like he didn't know what to do. Something pinched my elbow. I looked down, and Brittany was gripping my arm, staring at Tara. She looked like she was tossing up whether to cheer or howl. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes." She realized I was watching her, let go of my arm, and looked embarrassed. Then she glanced at me and smiled. I gazed across the lawn at my two changed friends, at Tara, lurching slightly as she turned to grin at her friends. I thought of all the time ahead, and all the time she had to win back. I said it to myself. Yes. When she was admitted to intensive care 3 months ago, the patient's chances of survival, let alone a normal life, seemed slim. But skilled help, the love of family and friends, plus her own determination, have seen it happen. The road to full recovery may take years, but youth and courage are on her side. Good luck, Tara.